What's up, everybody? Welcome to Leaders of Lifestyle, a podcast all about real estate, sports, and entertainment. Take a deep dive with me into the world of high-end lifestyle and get exposed to the different leaders behind the scenes of it all. So let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leaders of Lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, Michael Ferraro, where we talk to the best of the best when it comes to sports, entertainment, real estate, finance, and more. And I always promise you I bring you nothing but the best, nobody but the best. And we have the best of the best with us today. Our guest is Robin Kencel. Robin, thank you so much for being with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
So I'm going to give some of the listeners and the viewers your background.
Okay.
Because, like I said, we are just bringing the best when it comes to this area. Robin ranks as one of the top 1% of real estate agents in all of the U.S. She is a distinguished member of the Who's Who in luxury real estate, Haute Residence, Luxury Realtors, Agent Networks. She is a founding agent of Compass Greenwich and belongs to both the Compass Luxury Division and the Sports and Entertainment Division. She's a former top Fortune 100 executive and a 6-time United States champion in Pro-Am American Smooth Ballroom Dance. Just to name a couple of the things about Robin. Now, I will let all my podcast listeners here on iTunes and Spotify and everybody watching us on YouTube and further out know that me and Robin both work together at Compass Real Estate. And one of the main reasons that I am at Compass is because I looked up to Robin and as a real estate agent and followed her success, wanting to get into the high end, wanting to get into sports and entertainment and luxury real estate in Greenwich. And I saw that the best of the best were at Greenwich, at Compass, and Robin is one of the leaders there. And so I thought about on this journey, not only did I come to Compass because of Robin, but also who did I want to talk to in my market? You are the first agent that we brought on in the market that I also work in. And it's just a tremendous, tip of the hat to you because I thought of nobody better that I want to come on as the first agent to speak to.
I'm really humbled by that. Thank you.
Well, you are awesome. So, Robin, let's get to know you. Let's let everybody get to know you a little bit more. Okay. So let's talk about, obviously, a lot of people kind of have lives before they get into real estate. Some are lifelong real estate people. Some have lives before real estate. Yeah. You clearly did. So let's talk a little bit about, where you brought up and just your story.
Sure. I think my story has to start with the business that my parents and my grandparents ran, which was a nursing home. And one of the things I'll never forget is my grandfather telling me that we had a higher level of responsibility because we ran the facility and we were responsible for 72 residents and everybody who worked there. And so from, the moment practically I could walk, we were already in and out of the nursing home, kind of helping, whether it was, racing wheelchairs down the corridor, I'm embarrassed to say, or actually really doing work, that we really had to step it up and be an example. And that's what has been in my mind since a young child, from my family.
And I what was this in, not to cut you off, but just give people an idea, this was in Greenwich as well?
Oh, no. I grew up outside New Haven.
Okay.
Just an ordinary girl in an ordinary town. And actually, I grew up during a very heavily racial period in the 1970s in a very divided public high school. And I was in student government and deeply immersed in that experience.
Where outside New Haven?
In Hamden.
Oh, okay. I went to school at Southern. So.
Okay.
It's Hamden. Okay.
There you go.
Perfect.
But anyway, I think that was probably my key, formation experience was our family business and growing up in an Italian family and being very called on the carpet.
Right.
If you get an A, why didn't you get an A plus sort
right.
of a life? But my parents also really believed in doing what you love. And I always say I'm not working because I love what I do. And I think that's important because of the number of hours you spend. So as you referenced, I have had 4 careers prior to real estate. And again, was just following things that interested me.
Right.
A summer college job led to me going to business school after college because I was a philosophy major, thinking I was going to enter religious life, and didn't. And the business school experience, which was supposed to prime me to go run the nursing home, led me to go get healthcare experience in the best company I could find, which was Johnson and Johnson.
Hmm.
And that led me down a real business strategic planning marketing path to three different companies, because I wanted a high tech company, I wanted a fashion luxury company, and I wanted a commodity business. And I think what's important is just gaining experiences and growing all the time. So anytime I'm not growing, I'm changing my career.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not learning, then I'm not getting better and I'm getting stale, and I'm going to feel it and clients are going to feel it.
Now you
Um,
went to college in the area?
I went to college. Well, I went to a girls' school for 1 year and realized, oops, not so much.
Yeah.
And was also very interested in a political career, so I went to Georgetown for my
Oh, cool.
undergraduate,
Cool.
and I went to Kellogg at Northwestern University for my MBA.
So did this kind of, so when you were done with that and you kind of went into some of the marketing spaces and that kind of, was that right after
Yeah.
school?
No, I took a year off because I was thinking about religious life,
Uh-huh.
and I lived with, nuns down in Augusta, Georgia.
Wow.
I worked for the American Public Health Association in DC. So I took a year with different healthcare experiences and then went to business school. And
That went,
again, it's
yeah.
just about trying things
Yeah.
and seeing things and exploring who you are inside that really excites you.
So at that time, you had, that was a huge, about step you were going to make into life.
Yeah.
And then you made
Yeah.
the shift into the business side of it. And then so let's
Yeah.
like how did that evolve? Like where did you go from there? Because that to be I mean, you so it, to be one of the you know top Fortune 100 executives is a big deal. And how did that
Well,
happen?
let me clarify that. I worked for top Fortune 100 companies.
Okay.
I was in marketing management,
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
I got to a VP level in marketing for one of the companies, but
Gotcha.
I was also running a side job. This was in the 90s, and everybody worked a lot. My husband was, on Wall Street, in an investment banking, so he worked literally, he was sleeping on a sofa. So,
Right.
I came home and I'm like, what am I doing with my time? Because I danced earlier, but I wasn't dancing then. So one of my neighbors owned a really fabulous kitchen and bath design company, and I just had a love of design. So she literally trained me in the evenings and weekends in kitchen and bath design.
Wow.
And then I was on the floor on the weekend. So I had this, real day job that was not taxing.
Right.
And then I had this weekend stint as a kitchen and bath designer. Um, but it was leading me in this other direction. And honestly, Michael, we got out of graduate schools with $0, and I saw a townhouse under construction, and I kid you not, I put down a down payment with my MasterCard for $3,500. It wasn't finished. I customized a few things. I realized it was going to sell better and it looked really good. I made $30,000 on that sale, and it moved me to our next purchase of a townhouse in Bronxville. And we literally just started kind of stepping up our purchases accidentally almost. But I realized, oh, I'm kind of good at finding people. I love working with a team. I can create something that's better than what I bought. And, even sometimes I wasn't meaning to sell it, but someone would knock on my door and I sold it.
And this is
So when that
before you had your license. Before
Way
anything like that.
before. I mean, way
Wow.
before, way before. I finally, when I couldn't put together another business plan, I was so sick of putting together business plans. I opened a strategic planning company and I shifted to the nonprofit. So I worked for Georgetown for a few years creating business plans. I worked for the very first electronic medical record company, coming up with a brand, coming up with the concept, consumerizing it, and all at the same time was really restoring pre-war homes that were getting a little bit bigger each time.
Hmm.
So I had this whole second career, and along the way, I was fortunate enough to meet an amazing woman whose background, her husband really began luxury spas. He was the owner and creator of Golden Door Spa in California, and she is an antique dealer, and she is the patron of John Dickinson, who's an enormous name in design. And she really kind of trained me along with taking classes in interior design. And so then we had this other crazy side thing where we didn't advertise, but we got, fabulous clients and created real collections. And so my life I just kept following what came my way,
Yeah.
honestly. And along the way, one of my very good friends and my husband would say, "You should be in real estate." And I would say,
Yeah.
"No." Oh, like showing houses all day? No, that's not
Sales
what I do.
too.
It's not brainy enough. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson today.
Yeah.
I'm a problem solver. I'm a
Right.
negotiator.
Yeah.
I'm like entertaining your kids. I'm everything, but I don't sell.
Yeah.
I help you choose what fits you.
I think that's the biggest
That was,
misconception about still to this day what I don't know why people put, real estate salesmen and car salesmen and those people.
yeah.
No, especially at your level, this is very much a consultant role. This is very much a problem solving role. These are the best of the best that have the best of the best represent them, and whether it's their financial aspect or financial planning or whatever it is, we play that role. You play that role for that person. This is not a sales thing at all. This is not a salesperson. You're not pushing anything on anybody or doing anything like that.
I would not be able to sleep at night if I was even selling you a candy bar. I would,
Yeah.
I want to put things in front of you. I want to understand the market and I want to give you my knowledge, but also let you know
Yeah.
this is based on my experience and I'm trying to take out my filters to see what your needs are. And
Right.
at the end of the day, help you make a decision you're going to be really excited about.
Right.
And honestly, when I get an accepted offer the next day, I call the buyers first thing in the morning and say, "How are you feeling after you slept?" I really need to know that you are so excited because
Right.
I once had an experience, and it happened to be Greenwich, where we opened the door after we bought it, and I turned to my husband and said, "This was a huge mistake, and I have to sell it."
You did. This
I
is the house that
did.
you were going to live in?
And we did live in it.
Wow.
We were moving back from Chicago. I had literally just finished a huge project on a pre-war home in Kenilworth, right near Northwestern. He changed jobs. We came to Greenwich for one day. The realtor took us around. We almost bought in a top association, and she didn't really describe it as such.
Right.
And I seemed to like another home that backed up to the parkway that she didn't happen to mention backed up to the parkway. And we were looking at things so fast, I really didn't analyze the construction quality. And I got into the house and I looked around, I'm like, this is just, I can't live in this. Plus it wasn't a pre-war. And for me, I can only live in old houses. So
Really?
I took a year, I took out all the molding, I put in things, I made it way better. And, we sold it, but we didn't sell it for a dime. Actually, a dime profit. Actually, the person who bought it turned around and sold his contract to somebody else for
They like
$100,000.
wholesaled it.
And he made the profit. But you know what? I've won some, I've lost some. You just can't look back. Same thing in deals. You
Yeah.
win some, you lose some. They turn a corner. You just can't worry about it. It's all going to
Yeah.
work out in the wash.
Yeah, but you win a lot. You
I win
do
a
well.
lot,
You do
but I
well.
probably lose more than you. But I probably lose more than you think because I don't spend 10 minutes on what I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's you. It seems to be even up to this point in your story, you don't add a lot of friction to your life. Like you kind of like, okay, this is kind of where this is
No.
going. This is kind of the mood. This is kind of the flow. I'm here for a reason. This is taking me here. I'm going to go with it. And I think that
Yeah.
a lot of what you're saying is even in that situation and with the house, you're like, okay, I'm here. Maybe this wasn't a good decision, but we're going to make this kind of work. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that
Yeah.
even up to this point, that's your story. That's kind of who you are.
That's my story. Sometimes people will say to me, "Do you ever sleep?" I'm like, "Are you kidding? I sleep 8 to 9 hours a night. Like I have to be well rested."
Yeah.
And then sometimes people say, "You never stop." I'm like, "Oh, you're not with me all day. I am on, but then I'm taking breaks because I have to offer people my full self.
Right.
And I can't offer them my full self if I'm running on empty. So
Exactly.
I'm a big advocate of, take the time you need for your body and yourself. So when you're with clients or you're with your family,
Yeah.
you can bring the best of who you are.
Right. So let's talk now about real estate. How
Okay.
did that start? Because you clearly have a background here where you were starting
Yeah.
to flip houses and you were very good at
Yeah.
this and you started getting into
Okay.
understanding design. How did this happen?
Okay. So a very good friend of mine owned a boutique real estate firm in Greenwich. And one day, and she was buying and selling my houses for me. And one day she looked at me, she's like, you have the business background, you have the finance background, you have the design background, you've project managed for people, you've got to come into real estate. So I got my license, but as you well know, it's hard to just flip on a dime and start making an income.
Yeah.
It takes a while to build. So I kept the design business going while I had the real estate license until I couldn't do both anymore.
Right.
And I really got my start. I mean, I had a very articulated business plan, as you can imagine, because that's my background.
Right.
I know a lot of successful people that don't have business plans, but for me, I need to have some sense of, where I'm spending my time and what my priorities are so that the day doesn't overtake me, but a little bit I'm managing the day. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a day where I can totally manage my day
Right.
because stuff happens.
Right.
But I need to have somewhat of an outline. And so I was, implementing my marketing plan, and I drove by a house that I knew from my daughter's friend at school. And I recognized they had bought the land next door and they were building a house. And I literally just said to myself, they can't own two houses. And they were on the water. And so I called them, and for whatever reason, they're like, yeah, you're right. We haven't gotten far enough to think about that, but come talk to us. And so I took my friend who owned the company, because
Right.
what did I know? And we had a great conversation with them, and they called me and they said, list both. And that was my first sale, which happened to
Wow.
be, over $10 million. But I had a confidence. No, but here's what I
That's
want to
awesome.
say. But here's what I want to say. I have a confidence because the world that many of my clients live in, I just happen to be in that world
Yeah.
because of our lives, so I'm very comfortable with it. It doesn't impress me. People are people.
Right.
And sometimes people say, my house is too small, you won't take it. I'll take anything from 300,000
Yeah.
to 150 million, unless you're a total jerk. And
Right.
then I'm not taking you.
Right.
Even if I can learn from you, I'll take you. But,
Right.
if I don't think I can learn from you, no.
Right.
And so I had a real comfort. I just have this confidence that, honestly, go back to my beginning story, was instilled in me, in my family, because we were running this business, that I don't think there isn't anything I can't do. And I'm not saying that obnoxiously. I'm just saying that from
Right.
parents who just said, anything you put your mind to, you can do. Just that simple
Were you
belief.
nervous
And
at all
that
on your
helped
first
me
deal?
say,
Were you nervous at all on your first deal?
no.
No.
I just don't get nervous, because what is nervousness? It's lack of knowledge. And so if I don't know something, I will either say to the client, I don't know that, but I'm going to find out. Or I will bring in people. I mean, even today, I had a building inspection, and I have somebody, who helps us manage our house, that's an engineer. And he was along for the entire building inspection because my clients are extraordinarily conscientious and meticulous and want to know everything. And that's not my expertise. So if I don't know something, I'm bringing in somebody who knows something.
Mm.
And luckily, I have, 30-year relationships that I really trust, and I weed them out and I sort them out until, if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for my clients.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So your first deal that's a big deal at any
Yeah.
time ever, right? Doesn't matter. Um, how did you parlay that into the trajectory, into the career that you have had and continue to have, and kind of speak to the career that you have now, starting from that first deal to where it went?
Look, I'm not unrealistic. I recognize that that was a combination of really luck, that these people who, knew me but didn't know me intimately trusted me,
Mhm.
and that I had to prove myself. But it doesn't mean that it was going to take me along a certain path. And luck is one thing, but I'm really a believer in hard, smart work and being extraordinarily efficient with your time. So I didn't say, oh, now I'm on the path to the luxury market. I chased things that I believed in. I didn't have a huge network. And so I really did hard marketing in a number of different directions. I don't do that anymore because luckily 95% of my business is word of mouth.
Right.
But in the old days, there's no magic to it. There's no substitute for hard work, knowing what your strengths are,
Right.
supplementing where your weaknesses are, and just really being true to yourself. And I think that's my main thing. You've got to be who you are.
Yeah.
You can't be somebody else. Someone said to me last week, you should really redo your photos. You just don't look very approachable. You're like a little too done in your photos. I'm like, I don't know. I just honestly, except for the fact that I have somebody do my hair because I can't do my hair to save my life, that's just how I am. I mean, I'm either in dance clothes or I'm dressed for work.
Yeah.
And I don't think I should be taking photos for work in dance clothes.
Probably
So
not.
therefore, I'm in work clothes.
Wow. Okay. So I want to go into the dance part. It was a perfect segue, but I also want to kind of finish this real estate stuff because I want dance to
Sure.
be its whole thing. Um, so sports, entertainment, and luxury real estate and Compass, right? So like Compass is newer to your real estate career if you look at the whole scan of it because you were one of the
Right.
founding members and
Right.
Compass hasn't been around in the area
Yeah.
that long. And so the sports and entertainment labeling it that, giving it that label, right, is newer too. So talk a little bit about how Compass kind of came in and changed the game for you, I guess, and sports and entertainment. How do you look at it as far as, because
Sure.
everybody's different.
Sure.
I had Ben Moss on, who's the head of that,
Yeah.
sports and entertainment, and he had a whole, amazing outlook on it. So I'd love to know how you kind
Yeah.
of look at that.
Yeah. Look, I'm at Compass because it is the first brokerage that came to me that aligned with how I see business. So the real estate industry is pretty much behind consumer packaged goods, which was my world. And every time I would go to a brokerage and get recruited to a brokerage, I found myself um, not really aligned with how they saw marketing a property. And at that time, most of the time, until this crazy new market we're in,
Right.
I was mostly doing listings. Compass, in their starting with just the obvious, if you're in a luxury asset, you better be hiring people in marketing who have a luxury background. Like that was so obvious, but
Right.
they're the first ones who really did that. And then their technology platform that, when they said we make your life more efficient, I didn't totally appreciate that, to be honest, because I am a very, very efficient person. But what I have found is I get things done so quickly that I can just spend more time either, thinking about the properties or other aspects of my life. So I love that. And they talked about raising the caliber of an agent. And I always have said, that's my tagline, the beauty and business of real estate, elevating real estate. So it was just a really good fit and partnership. In terms of the sports and entertainment, every brokerage I think has a sports and entertainment division that I've been part of. I like that Compass holds, they don't just give it lip service. You really have to have a clientele in sports and entertainment to be part of that division.
Right.
And, that division is all about, again, networking, sharing information, sharing experiences. I mean, I've worked with a number of professional athletes and entertainers and people who are celebrities.
Sure.
And look, at the end of the day, they also are just people, but what I know about them is they are used to a certain level of service.
Right.
They have a very, very complicated fast life. In the case of athletes, I understand them because of my competitive background.
Right.
So instinctually, I understand where they're coming from. And I think it's just really helpful to, again, have that network of people that you can go to and work with for that particular clientele.
Right.
And Compass now has this new luxury division, and that's been really helpful because with luxury listings, they have to be marketed a different way.
Right. Right. Exactly. That's excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the current real estate market, because the number one question
Yeah,
I get two questions from people all the time. Uh, one is obviously, how's the market? That's just the
yeah,
most general question, and I'm always like,
yeah,
what, nationally, locally? What are you talking about? That's such a general question that's almost aggravating sometimes. The other one is like, how many, have you many celebrities? That's always the second thing. But the main one of is the how's the market. So I'll pitch it to you, and I'm talking specifically. I'm talking two things. One, the national market kind of forecasting for your opinion on it, and also the Lower Fairfield County, specifically our Greenwich market. I mean,
yeah,
how do you see it?
yeah. Well, I think in terms of nationally, I've got a listing in the Berkshires, which is like another kind of little
Yep.
luxury bubble.
Yep.
But when you look nationally and you look at the luxury markets, I'm really, it's every agent I've talked to in every luxury market. I mean, Aspen, the Hamptons, LA, San Francisco, we're all exploding. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's really interesting. Today I was thinking, if we're all exploding, how are we all exploding? Because
Hmm.
normally it's like an accounting, debits and credits, but somehow we're all exploding. And, I didn't think we were going to have any slow up, and I'm not hearing any slow up from any of my colleagues across the luxury market. So, I would say nationally, we seem to be really strong, and I attribute it to those interest rates, a confidence that the election's behind us. We've got the vaccine going. So I think people are they need something hopeful. And purchasing a new house, if you're able to do it, is definitely saying, okay, I've got a new chapter going. I think we're all looking for a new chapter that we can just pull ourselves up and feel better about.
When
In
you're looking at the
terms of,
national market, I want your opinion on this. So one of the things I'm thinking about, and I'm thinking about the same thing, I'm looking at nationally.
yeah,
Relocations are at an all-time high, all-time high.
yeah,
We have all-time low interest rates. We have luxury
right,
markets exploding as well as entry-level markets.
yeah,
And then my question is like, well, obviously property values are here, interest rates are here, buyers like, let's buy, sellers are like, we're gonna sell. Where do you? I don't know if there's ever been a time like this where you kind of can't tell where the pandemic on relocating out of city stuff starts or stops, and where like the interest rates, high values start and stop. Like I don't know which. Where do you see it? Do you see this
and,
more
and
pandemic driven or?
you know what? You're not going to be able to answer that because unlike consumer products, where you've got so many statistical models that you can go to and tease out variables,
Right.
it's frustrating in real estate because you just don't have any modeling. So, that would just be conjecture. I mean, I am thinking about the 90s where, rates were low and prices were climbing, and I'm told that literally people were flinging contracts across the front steps. Um, and I have to say, I don't think, I don't know that I've had any deal. Maybe I've had a few during COVID that are not multiple bidding wars. I mean, it's just very, very heated. In terms of where it's going, look at once rates rise, that's going to impact the market. We know that historically. So, but as long as rates are staying where they're staying, I
Yeah.
think whether it's an entry market or an older, we also have to look at population trends and population sizes. And the fact of the matter is, if you look at population numbers, there's more people, and there's more people at faster rates.
Right.
So people need housing.
Right. Let's talk about our beloved Greenwich in Lower Fairfield County.
Yeah,
I had a couple days ago. I interviewed Fred Camillo, the first selectman of
yeah,
Greenwich. We talked
yeah.
a lot about his policies that he wanted to implement immediately before COVID hit, because right as he came in, COVID hit. Um, and now through COVID and where he's still looking to do policy wise, kind of cleaning up Greenwich, doing some stuff with Greenwich Avenue, things like that. Uh, I agree. I think that real estate will be hot this year. I think they're going to keep these rates low. I think they're going to keep this thing going, and everybody wants it to stay this way. Where do you see Greenwich luxury market continue to explode the rest of the year? Do you see a plateauing of some prices or areas and location in Greenwich that becoming hotter than were cold before?
Well, first of all, I think since you probably have listeners from all over, I want to say that luxury markets that tune into what buyers want today, which is the obvious walkability, green space, really maximizing quality of life, which that phrase has become something so different in the last 11 months. Those are the markets that are going to continue to do well.
Right.
So I think I was on the first Selectmen's Economic Development Council before Fred, and we worked a lot on that. We worked on, what does the downtown mean? Why do we have a parking lot right at the
Right.
Long Island Sound? Can
Right.
we be using land better?
Right.
So as long as Greenwich and other luxury towns are looking at their master plans and looking at, it always goes back to consumer need. What does a consumer need and want? And I think Fred's got some great plans. And we can look at some other great luxury markets like San Francisco and Santa Barbara, who have really done some fabulous things to make their communities really providing what folks want today. And it's all about wellness, and it's all about health, and it's all about, just enjoying nature and getting out of where we've been enclosed for 11 months. That's going to be even more important psychologically.
Where
So
where
I
would you
think
see? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
what I like best for Greenwich on the pandemic is folks came out first renting in a panic. A lot of those people converted to buyers because
Yep.
they didn't realize that this is not the Greenwich that I heard it was.
Right.
There aren't stuffy people wearing pearls having lunch all day. These are like active, interesting folks who do stuff. And so they start telling their friends. My business is all word of mouth, and it's all New Yorkers telling their friends. And, Greenwich is now becoming what it was when I was a kid. It was Greenwich out there.
Right.
So I think Greenwich is going to be in a great shape for the long haul. When my buyers say, I don't want to buy in this heated up market, I keep saying, hey, we were at 2005 prices, which were 20 to 25% behind. We're now about 10% lift on COVID. You're still looking good, and you're going to be looking good because word of mouth spreads, and we're going to continue to go up.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess a good segue too to clientele that you're seeing now. A majority of them obviously are what you would think. New York City had a couple of out of state, across country, international, but it's still mainly it's kept up. And I agree 100% in your timeline. That was 100% my experience. The same exact thing.
Yeah.
You still seeing strong New York City market?
New York will always be our feeder.
Yeah.
So, there's no surprise there. But I've got two international clients right now. I've had the West Coast, I've had the Midwest. So, again, I think, it's going to continue to be everybody, but Manhattan will always be our primary feeder market.
Yeah. I was surprised that we didn't get. I thought that the time was going to also be a big jump for Westchester, because Westchester was always strong, trying to
Yeah.
get away from taxes. And I thought this was going to be like,
Yeah.
now's the time. I'm going to get out of these taxes. I got to come over here, homeschool. I'm going to leave it anyway. I saw a little bit, but I was not. I was shocked by how many people were Florida coming up or Hampton coming up than Westchester. I was just taking.
I think what's happening there, because I've had a lot of Westchester toe dippers,
Yeah.
and they're, dipping their toe, they're looking for things, but ultimately they either have to wait to sell their house, and folks are picking Connecticut because of the advantageous taxes. And Greenwich is much larger, so it's a very different experience living in Greenwich than living in a smaller town that's, nearby.
Right.
And I always say to people, I just want you to pick the town that's right for you. I'm not selling against anybody. I'm just going to tell you what we have here.
Right.
And then, you see if it fits. And I do sell in other towns around
Sure.
me. So it's really about finding what fits you.
I think the inventory is just so low, but the consensus is if you can get me into that Greenwich market, because it is just so difficult to
Yeah.
not have it all there, and
Yeah.
and then you can
Yeah.
go to your secondary markets, whatever's around. You got your New Canaans, your Dariens, your Westports, your
Yeah.
Fairfields, things like that, or into Westchester.
Yeah.
Okay, you are awesome. Let's keep it
Thank
going.
you.
Let's talk dance, because I think it's a cool
Okay.
little segue here. I was an athlete. I was an All-American swimmer at Southern Connecticut.
Nice.
And it was kind of always like one of those sports that was like, and I played football. I did a lot of other stuff. But
Yeah.
in my world, like, I was an All-American swimmer. I was at nationals, all this different stuff. So it
Yeah.
was a big deal. But to a lot of people, swimming was kind of like a secondary sport, right? And they didn't really get it. They didn't understand how it worked. It was
Yeah.
so, but I did it all my life. It was the dedication. You're in 4 to 5 hours a
Yeah.
day in it. Dancing
Yeah.
is a lot. The people don't realize the tremendous toll that it takes on your body too, because it's a
Yeah.
whole physical thing. And so, talk
Yeah.
about dance. When did it start for you? Were you doing all your life?
Yeah, it's been a lifelong thing for me. And thank you for recognizing that it is a sport,
Yeah.
a very demanding sport. I really love it, though I've done other sports, because it is so multidimensional. You've got the physical, obviously, with all the cross training, and my day starts early, because I do have to cross train. But let's go to the partnership aspect. The partnership aspect, which really relates so much to work and so much to life. As my partner reminds me, this is the one place where you're not in charge.
Mm,
I'm a pencil and you're finishing my line. And so there's so many layers to that. And I've danced really since I've been 4, but I've danced in ballroom for 19 years now. And every day, including tonight when I danced, I cannot believe that I'm unlocking and peeling out new things. So it's really exciting on so many levels, but I would say it's so much about collaboration. There's timing, there's like timing, and then there's where you're behind timing and you're catching up on timing. I mean, I could go into so many different
right.
levels. You're playing with music, you're playing with your partner, you're playing within yourself and your own abilities, and you're pushing your limits. So I'm really fortunate because during COVID, there's so much less running around. I never said I would be a Peloton person, but
Yeah, I got
we have
I got
our
the high
grown
fit.
daughter and her fiance living with us, and day one she's like, "You got to get a Peloton."
Yeah,
So now all of a sudden I've become a lot stronger and faster because of the Peloton,
yeah, yeah.
and I discovered this amazing Broadway choreographer, one of the first major Broadway dancers, doing Zoom classes, and
Wow.
she's now an intimate part of my dance world. And she on Zoom will work with us, and she'll say 4 things that I'm like, God, you have just really changed me. So I have to say it's exciting because in 11 months I've become a very different dancer, with masks on. And I can't wait to go back. I mean, competing, do I like to compete? No, I like to entertain and perform and make people feel something and share something and use whatever I've been given. So I think once we're vaccinated, there are people competing, but I'd like to have us both vaccinated first.
It's interesting. I started swimming competitively when I was 8 years old. I did it all the way through. And then when I was done training at 21, 22, then I coached for 10 years and I just stayed in it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, a lot of people who, I mean, in your sport, you did it and you started when you were 4 years old. You learned your craft, you
yeah,
went all the way through. That's a passion. That's a love for what you do. Did it ever interfere? Because the training is tremendous. You're cross training. That is a demanding sport. there's a lot
Yeah,
of relationship building because you have your partner and you have to also
right.
organize, where am I going? Where am I competing? Where am I doing? Where am I
Yeah,
going on weekends?
yeah.
Did it ever interfere in your life at a point where you're like, man, it
Well, of
doesn't work?
course. Listen, I'm not a superwoman. I mean, of course, my sacrifice has been, I don't I don't have any time to spend, I mean, very little with friends. Any free time is with family. So where people are out having dinner with friends, when you're having dinner, I'm schlepping to go dance. So the commitment is, and the sacrifice is, something. I mean, something has to give. I also no longer cook. So I was running a group last night for a spiritual practice, and they were talking about cooking, and they asked me what I was making for dinner. I'm like, I don't cook anymore. Something had to go.
Yeah.
And in my world, it was cooking.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So what would you say? I mean, you're a 6 times United States Pro-Am
Yes,
American Smooth
yes,
Ballroom Dance.
yeah,
For people who have no idea, can you kind of
yeah.
break down the ballroom dance
Sure,
world? Like,
sure.
so like, what
Yeah,
are there levels? Are there different
yeah,
styles?
yeah,
Like,
of course. Yep. There's four styles, either American styles or international styles. The American styles, I do American Smooth, which is waltz, foxtrot, Viennese waltz, and tango. It's exactly what you see on Dancing with the Stars,
mm,
very open. Um, and there are levels that are divided by age and by level. So I compete at the highest level before pro. And sometimes I compete below my age because we like to challenge, but what we do is we don't stick with what's traditional. Like what we have coming out once we get back is very different than typical ballroom. It's contemporary,
mm.
it pushes envelopes, and I kind of don't think about my age. My partner's 38, I think now, and I just see myself, at that age and doing those things. And luckily with PRP and an amazing group of doctors, my body stays together. I have two replaced hips. So that's,
Wow.
yeah. So, the last 5 years was replacing hips and, um, not being able to
Physical
try to
therapy
retain
and
tackle.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm really excited. And, those titles just mean that the judges really like what I'm putting out there. So I'm very focused this year on putting out something that's going to be super exciting for the judges and the audience. There's nothing better than when we walk off the floor and people are literally crying and because we've moved them. And that's honestly my goal.
Wow.
My goal is also just to have anybody have us perform that's meaningful, like gave us a nursing home. I told hospital for special surgery, can't you use us? So they're waiting for a tape to see if they can use us. But, we'll perform anywhere.
When you perform, is it like a gymnastics routine where you have a routine and it's a song and when it's over, or
No.
is it multiple songs and it's over like?
Michael, it's really not what you expect. So you go to compete, and it starts with, in my category, waltz, but you have no idea what waltz is playing. So therefore, it starts. You have to interpret what kind of a waltz
Oh
it
wow.
is.
Okay.
Is it sad? Is it happy? Whatever. It's a minute and 30 seconds because there's about 16 couples on the floor at the same time. You have choreography, but you might have to change it because of traffic. We now just change it because, he wants me not to just lead and follow, but to be so in tune with him that I'm not with him, but I'm a second delayed behind him and see if I'm responding. And then you get an 8-second break and you move to tango. Same deal. I don't know what tango's playing. I mean, and they're vastly different. And then you move to foxtrot, and then you end up with Viennese waltz. So, it's physically exhausting. I
Oh
mean,
my
you
gosh.
are
How long does this
breathing so
last? How long is this?
well. It's 8 minutes. And
Okay.
it's like just group after group. So it's whatever, but it's fiercely competitive. There's usually it's women so it's a pro and it's an amateur. A lot of them don't work and spend gobs of time.
Right.
I'm dancing with him probably 3 to 4 nights a week, and then I'm cross training, 2 to 3 hours a day, shoving in around work and life.
How this? As soon as you start talking about this, my brain immediately goes to this because I was always a watch, right? Like if I don't put in the work, it shows. It's me versus me in the
Yeah,
crowd versus other people. And I always said to
Yeah.
my wife, who's University of Bridgeport gymnastics coach, how do you do routines and stuff, and then have somebody go, no, that I couldn't. Is that how it works in ballroom? Like there's a judge and they're taking their opinion on what has that?
Yeah, no, let's be honest about it. You're judged on your partnership, you're judged on your technique, you're judged on your musicality. There's a level of politics like everything else. And you can't control anybody but yourself in life. That's true for everything. And so I don't really see it as competing, just like I don't see myself competing in real estate. I
Right.
just do what I do, and I want to put out something really magical. That's my goal in dance, and my goal in real estate is just to exceed people's happiness quota in their experience.
That's
So,
why you said that you like to perform necessarily more than competing, because the performing
yeah,
it's you just doing the best you can so that you get the reaction from the people if they're crying, whatever, that
yeah,
which must be a phenomenal experience to feel that
yeah.
to somebody through
Oh,
dance.
so great.
And then at the same time, do you ever feel like when you do compete, like, yeah, I'm the by far the best out here. Like I have this. Is that,
Yeah.
like you
No,
know
no,
that?
no.
Like you can peek an eye from the side and like, yeah, I got them. They're not as good.
I don't peek an eye, but we've been really a little naughty because people are competing
Yeah.
now. And so we're like going on and watching them and we're like, oh, we're going to smoke that. But I got to be honest, I never get nervous in business. I can get stupidly nervous
Really?
in competition.
Really?
And it's for no good reason. And I'm hoping this 11 months has worked on some of my weaknesses so that I'm just so comfortable in my body.
Mhm.
I'm in really stupid high heels. So I'm
Yeah.
doing these turns and spins, and I'm in high heels with a dress. I mean, I have tripped on the dress, rolled across the floor, and gotten up and gone like, oh, well.
Really?
So,
Wow.
yeah, what are you going to do? It's life.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Show must go
That's
on.
amazing. Athletes are athletes. What do you,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what we're doing.
Yeah,
Athletes are
it's
athletes.
unpredictable.
That's
It's
it.
unpredictable. You start and you're like, please show up.
Yeah.
Please just do 80% of what you do when
Yeah.
I'm in the rehearsal studio.
Right.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Wow, that's amazing. I'm gonna YouTube like a lot of ballrooms because like now I feel like it's competitive. So I'm like I want to see what this is like.
I'm going to send you something from today.
Yeah,
We
send
we
it to me.
we videoed ourselves today, and I'm going to send you a clip from it.
Okay, I want to see it. Send it.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. All
Well,
right. So I have some kind of fire round questions to just kind of throw at you. Nothing too crazy.
okay.
And then we'll kind of get some of your content information. We'll kind of wrap it up. So, favorite personal or professional achievement or moment?
Oh, wow. I always say that my last achievement is like it's behind me, so just look forward. I don't really count those, but I have to say every time I win a national title, it it's amazing. So I'm going to say that
Okay,
every time. It never gets old. I'm really humbled because it reflects a tremendous amount of commitment and partnership, and I'm so lucky to have someone phenomenal by my side.
got it. Favorite book?
Favorite book, The Alchemist comes to my mind.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but that just came.
Okay. Well, I've never. What is it? The Alchemist?
The Alchemist. It's a book on life philosophy. It's a little story. It's not too thick. Pick
Yeah.
it up.
Cool. I definitely will. Uh, you're sitting down when you do sometime have downtime, which you get making for
Yeah.
yourself. You're gonna watch a movie. I don't know if you're a movie person. What genre are you putting on?
Oh, if I'm extraordinarily tired, I'm putting on comedy. If I'm with my husband and we're just having a good night, we'll do something either kind of historical, or he's a musician for fun. So, I'm always getting pulled into like the Bee Gees movie. I mean, some movie about some musician, which
Yeah.
I like because I'm learning about artists. So,
Every single time I sit down with my wife, it starts like this. Babe, you want to watch a scary movie tonight? Yeah, let's watch a scary movie. Pour a little wine, maybe sit down. All right, we'll watch a scary movie. Nah, I don't want to watch a scary movie. You want to see a comedy? Can't find a good comedy. We always end up at a documentary. It's always somehow
yeah,
ended up at a documentary
yeah,
again.
yeah.
That's usually how it happens.
I love documentaries. There's been a lot of good documentaries on Netflix apparently during
Yes.
COVID.
Yes.
I don't watch much TV, but I watched the one on Rubik's Cube, and it was very interesting.
Yes. There's some crazy ones out there. You can get in the rabbit hole, and if you ever find
Yeah.
yourself looking at space documentaries, goodbye for the next 3 or 4 hours. You're just gonna be watching planet
Well, you know
documentaries.
what? That's the thing. I think I'm just really fearful that if I started watching them,
Yeah.
I would find myself, the next thing I'd have like, truffles next to me
Right.
and things I shouldn't be eating.
Not
So I
going to
can't
work
go.
today. There's just truffles all day. And all right, this is in my house. This is a big deal because my son can't stand one, and my other son absolutely loves it. Are you vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Yeah.
Oh, vanilla and ice cream,
Yeah.
but every night I do have dark chocolate with
Really?
no sugar. There's one brand that has dark chocolate made with stevia, and that's my go-to.
That's your wait. That's like an ice cream.
No, that's a chocolate bar.
Oh, like a chocolate bar.
Yeah, so if it's a chocolate, so if it's a bar, I mean, I'll go for chocolate in a bar,
Mm.
and I'll go for vanilla ice cream.
So that's like your snack. That's like
My
your
snack is like a square of chocolate at night. I mean, I have other snacks, but that's my like, okay, I gotta have my chocolate square.
that same way. I'm with that with cookies. I gotta have it.
Yeah.
All right. I asked this question in different ways to different people because I kind of already know how you would answer this. So let me put it to you like this. You're on vacation, wherever it is, doesn't really matter. Are you a person who likes to have activities and planned out, or are you just don't give me activities, I'm laying on the beach?
Oh, I'm the hybrid person. So I'm the person who in the morning, like, if we're somewhere in Europe or something, give me the tour guide, let's go do something educational and interesting, and then in the afternoon, don't give me an agenda.
Oh, okay. So you are interesting like that. Do you
Yeah,
you
because
like to plan it or be surprised?
I like a combo. I like to be surprised if people know me. I don't
Mhm.
like to be surprised if they don't know me.
Cool. Interesting.
I
What?
don't know, it's just selfish because I don't want to do things that I don't want to do. That's just selfish.
There's nothing
To be
wrong
honest.
with that.
To be
There's
honest.
nothing wrong with that. No problem. What's one thing that we know the ballroom. We know your real estate success. We learned a lot about you. What's something else that people don't know about you that would be interesting?
I am in a 4-year program to become a spiritual director under the Jesuits at Fairfield University.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, that's a big commitment. So I'm loving it, and I'm really, really fortunate because I have an amazing group of people supporting me on it, and it's a great program. So,
So faith
if you
has
want to
played a
learn
big
more,
part of your life.
yeah.
Wow, that's excellent. So, Robin Kencel, you have been somebody I've been so impressed with. Has driven me in a lot of different ways, motivated me. I hope to do deals with you in the future and watch you grow and be alongside. Can you let everybody know where they can reach you to kind of, if you have social media tags and websites,
Sure.
stuff like that?
But I do want to say that we could have done a deal, but you went and sold your Zacchaeus Meat House
Oh, yeah.
before I could bring a buyer.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I
If
apologize.
you could possibly find something similar to that, let me
Yes.
know.
I think I might have some.
Yeah, I think just Google me and you'll find my contact info. My phone number is 203-249-2943.
Do you do social media a lot?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to my Instagram, I usually put things up. My 31-year-old says take it down. Uh,
Okay. Robin has an awesome website, and I think it's you have the two websites. You have your group, and then you have your own personal website, right?
no, I just have one, robinkencelgroup.com.
RobinKinselGroup.com. It's an awesome website. And
Thanks.
everybody should go check it out. And
You have a nice new website. I like your new website.
been working on some stuff. I gotta keep up with the Joneses. Everything going. But Robin Kencel, everyone, thank you. Robin, thank you for being on with us today. And I wish you nothing but success, and I know you will have it in the future. And God bless.
God bless you back. And that was so much fun spending some time with you.
Absolutely. And we'll talk again soon. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Leaders of Lifestyle podcast, Mike Ferraro. Till next time. Take care.